You're watching ABC4 News with Emily Flores, Glenn Mills, and Alana Brophy.
Today, President Joe Biden welcoming French President Emmanuel Macron to the White House for the first state dinner in 3 years.
The ongoing war in Ukraine took center stage during a closed-door meeting among the two leaders. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Raquel Martin has more on today's events.
This was a critical meeting. Both the U.S. and France especially have seen their energy prices soar as a result of the Russian invasion into Ukraine. But despite that pressure, both world leaders emerged from their meeting saying their support for Ukraine has not wavered.
France and the United States have always stood together.
Ahead of his administration's first state dinner, President Joe Biden and President Emmanuel Macron say the alliance between the U.S. and France is as strong as ever.
This friendship always prevailed.
Following a nearly 3-hour closed-door meeting, in a joint press conference, the two world leaders renewed their commitments to help Ukraine defeat Putin.
He's miscalculated every single thing he initially calculated.
Despite maintaining a more open line of communication with Putin, Macron says he will not pressure Ukraine to cave to Russia's attacks.
We will never urge the Ukrainians to make a compromise which will not be acceptable for them. It will never build a sustainable peace.
President Biden says he will continue to call on Putin to end this war peacefully. The two leaders also discussed concerns new clean energy policies inside the president's Inflation Reduction Law could hurt European allies.
We want to succeed together, not one against the other.
President Biden assured Macron the U.S. would tweak details to ensure the economies of both countries benefit from clean energy innovation.
We're going to continue to create manufacturing jobs in America, but not at the expense of Europe.
Later in the evening, the two leaders reunited for the formal state dinner on the South Lawn of the White House. Hundreds of guests were in attendance. For Now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
A bill to avert a railway strike is heading to President Biden's desk. The bill getting final approval tonight, clearing the Senate in a bipartisan vote. It will bind rail companies and workers to a deal that was actually proposed back in September. Then it was rejected by 4 of the 12 unions involved. The president has vowed to sign it quickly.
All right, it's now December and the winter holidays are fast approaching. So have you made your holiday travel plans just yet? ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has some money-saving tips if you still need to book that trip.
It's difficult to get cheap flights during the holiday season, and booking last minute can be extra pricey.
Folks generally know that last-minute flights tend to be expensive, and that's especially true for holiday travel.
Scott Kays of Scott's Cheap Flights says don't wait any longer.
If you wait until the very last day to book your flight, that fare is going to be extremely high and quite a bit higher than it was even if you had booked that flight a week before you travel. And that's going to be quite a bit higher than if you had booked it a month before travel.
One pro tip to save: fly on the holidays themselves.
Most folks don't want to fly on December 25th, on December 31st, and you see that reflected in the airfare.
But your best bet to find a bargain? Be flexible.
If you've got the week or two off of work, maybe your kids are out of school, the very best strategy that you can do to get a cheap flight is to use a trip planning process I like to call reverse your search.
The way most people search is a 3-step process. Step 1, decide where to go. Step 2, pick dates to travel. Step 3, look up the cost of flights. Kays recommends flipping that process on its head.
Step 1, look, where are there cheap flights available right now out of my home airport? Step 2, of those places that are cheap, decide which one interests you the most. And then step 3, what dates work for your schedule.
By setting price as the top priority, you're more likely to find cheaper flights for your end-of-year travel. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
That wind is whipping. We can hear it outside of the studio as we speak.
And it has been all day, Alana.
Yes, wicked winds still out there. Stronger southwesterly flow. Live look from the ABC4 camera here at the Colonial Flag camera showing those southerly winds, just having that flag continuing to go. The cloud cover has really amped up as well. Temperatures are very mild because of our southerly component, 50 degrees. It's 50 degrees right now on December 1st. That's when you know something's going on. We've got changes afoot. As we look at those winds, they've been cranking at our mountaintops throughout the day. Our central Wasatch Peaks clocked a 95-mile-per-hour gust. Logan Peak, Ogden Peak, the Cedar City Airport, we know all dealing with strong wind gusts. In our valleys, we also saw it on the western side of the state. Salt Lake, 48-mile-per-hour gust. That's within the last hour. It was 43 for much of the day. 60 miles per hour in Cedar City. That's why that high wind warning was upgraded this morning and why the warnings and advisories will hold until 1 a.m. Behind the cold front, about an hour behind it, we'll start to see the winds relaxing. But there's going to be a period of blowing precipitation. Those high winds, again, holding on, that cold front on the way, and it's going to track through Salt Lake. I've got the timing of our major cities being impacted by it. We will see heavy snow following the front passing through. It's going to be a solid window for 2 to 3 hours where we really accumulate. That's going to compromise travel tomorrow morning, and I'm going to give you an idea of those expected snow totals because they are on their way. The front pushing into the state. We saw it enter northwest Utah. It's that band of snow behind it. Cloud cover out there. Our mountains already picking up some precipitation. Storm tracker radar shows us that. Northern mountains. Now it is rain below 6,000 feet. That's going to change. As the front comes through, snow levels will drop. It's this. As it moves into the Beehive State, it will definitely produce that front, going to drag it in with colder air. As we look at the timeline, by midnight, that front will be pushing into Logan, into Ogden by 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., Salt Lake 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Following that, we get a window of heavy precipitation that could last anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. Lake enhancement will keep things going through the morning commute, so we're going to have sloppy conditions. After 3 a.m., it's going to push towards Utah County and central and southern Utah. You're not left out of this one. You're going to get wet weather as well. We see the front on the move. As we zoom in by 2 a.m., that snow is filled in from Cache Valley down to Salt Lake County, over the mountains, Uintas, Wasatch, and all the way into Utah County and Wendover. I-80 tapping into some of that snow. Tooele's getting it as well. By 7 a.m., it slides further south into the southern Wasatch Front, central Utah, and then over I-15. Here we are by 10 a.m. Things start to quiet down with precipitation. Cold air left behind, but it's the morning of travel that's going to be impacted. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds as we clear things out, but we stay unsettled into our weekend as a wave brings the potential for some mountain snow early Saturday in the south and then into the central portion of the state. Another storm brewing for the latter half of our weekend and into next week. So very active pattern. Here's a look at what to expect on the roads tomorrow. Put out by UDOT. These areas in red, road snow potential. It's the Wasatch Front. It also includes places like Sardine Summit, Parley's Canyon, I-15, all the way down to Cedar City. What you're seeing in yellow is road slush, so you have to be prepared for winter travel conditions. How much snow? It's the big question. Well, we're into December. We're not going to lack on totals. 2 to 5 for the Wasatch Front, another 4 to 8 for the benches. Mountain valleys. This does include Park City and Cache Valley. Could see anywhere from 6 to 12, 2 to 5. In our central and southern valleys, Scipio, Fillmore, Cedar City, you are looking at accumulations, and then our mountains getting healthy amounts, close to a foot in the Cottonwoods. The highest peaks could get more than that at 1.5 feet. The northern mountains going to do well from this storm as well. It's a quick hitter, and it's gone by tomorrow afternoon, but it's the impacts that come with it, especially on our highly traveled routes. 20s and 30s for daytime highs tomorrow along the Wasatch Front, 30s, 40s, and 50s in eastern Utah, where the winds will continue to crank. 30s along the I-15 corridor, 40 in Cedar City, and low 50s in St. George, where it's going to be rain, rain, and then a slight chance for the mountains on Saturday, another round of rain Sunday into Monday. As we look at the Wasatch Front, well, we're going to be active. Snow for tomorrow to kick things off. Bit of a break on Saturday, then rain, which will transition to snow as we head into the beginning of next week, and then high pressure comes back. But an active pattern, and while this may be a quick hitter storm, it doesn't mean it's not going to be big impacts. We're going to be covering it while in the morning, so be ready for that.